Welcome, friends, to Reality Test. What is reality testing, you may ask? Well, it's something we all do every day, maybe with our loved ones over dinner, with coworkers at the water cooler, etc., when we check our subjective or personal emotions, thoughts, and so forth against objective or sort of more agreed upon fact-based reality. Although, because Dr. Ray and I, Dr. Kay, are social constructionists, we don't actually believe there's one true objective reality, but rather our own personal versions of it constructed in the context of relationships. But you get the idea. So here in Reality Test, we're going to be testing the castmate realities and the producer antics of our favorite reality TV shows against what we know as licensed psychologists about the reality out here, off of our TVs. We hope you'll join us as we attempt to reality test. That's it. Thanks, y'all. Now check out our campy theme song. Are you feeling stressed? Your head's on fast, well, let's forget all the rest. Okay, relax, because it's time to talk reality test. Come with us. It's Reality Test.
Welcome to Reality Test. I'm Dr. Ray.
Just one day of these. We've only done it almost 100 times.
I seem to miss the when we're in person. I'm like, who am I?
He looks at me. He's like,
I did my job.
yeah, exactly. Check. And I'm Dr. Ray. Actually, accidentally did that too. And I'm Dr. Kay. Feel free to check in and take a seat wherever you like out in this waiting room of ours. Today, we're taking a social justice dive into the deep end of things because, as many of you know, there's a lot happening parasocially for Love Island at the moment.
So much.
Just an immense amount. So we have Sierra, as you may know, Sierra Ortega, who has been removed from the show. Just like Ulissa, it was basically announced to us through the narrator, Ian Sterling, saying, so just click, everyone attention, please.
Attention. Listen up.
Yes, exactly.
Gather around.
Yes, exactly. Which is true. This is very important. This is a town meeting. We're having a town hall. That's what we can call this, a town hall episode.
I like it.
Yeah,
Yes.
that is a bit of a town hall.
Mm-hmm.
So she was, just like Ulissa, it was announced to us basically through, first the narrator saying she had to go home because of personal reasons, and then someone who was in a couple with her, in this case Nick, saying like, oh my gosh, it's so weird being single. It was sort of like not enough.
No.
Both in terms of announcing it, which is bizarre, but then also like Nick it didn't feel like I wasn't feeling with Nick and the way he like processed it.
I
agree. It felt like obligatory.
It felt confusing because I think my whole, and by the way, as you may know, I'm a Nicolandria stan. So that's
that worked in your favor.
Yes. But I have to say, like, his inauthenticity with the Sierra thing made me struggle with him going into the Alandria thing because I'm like, are you just being fake? And I don't think so. But I feel like the actualization of their relationship, this most recent episode, I felt it. But before that, I wasn't feeling it.
Yeah.
Something felt unnatural about how it all came together.
Right. Because it was forced by producers, kind of.
Yes.
Yeah. And now it's not.
Yes, I think so. And frankly, I wonder if there wasn't the Nicolandria stands, if they would have gotten rid of Sierra. They
definitely took a while to think about it.
And they were like, we can spin this. And they wouldn't have been able to with one of their strongest couples if there wasn't something that the fans were really excited about.
Right.
So,
yeah. And they wouldn't have wanted to leave Nick high and dry because they think of Nick as like one of their high attention grabbers.
And he is, to be fair.
Yeah. He's somehow the funniest one, even though he's not even that funny. But he's somehow the funniest one. That's like something I realized there's not a lot of humor.
No, he's kind of himbo funny in a way.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's a very smart person, but he gives off that sort of energy, and I think he likes it. So it's kind of fun.
That's his kind of humor, sort of like self-deprecating,
goofy.
Yeah. Just being like, oh. Look at me. Or he like just being funny. He did one of those this last episode. I thought was funny. But yeah, it's pretty rare to like even laugh about his humor. Like just we don't get enough of his humor either. It's sort of weird because that is something that's like very draws you in.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah,
and he's a former swimmer, and I creeped his Insta a little bit because he mentioned it, and then I like he was literally a swimmer, and I think there's something about swimmers because you're like exhausted all the time. Because you're like in the fucking pool 4 hours a day, where you have to be funny or like kind of humorous and goofy,
like coping. Yeah.
So I think he's got a little of that going on. He'd probably be fun to be on a team with.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nick, if you ever want to swim together, call me.
Create your own intramural team.
I'd be really down for that swim group, even though I don't like swimming
of
much
two.
anymore.
Yes, right. Fair. Are you coping in that case? Are you using humor to cope so that you are like likable to other people when you're tired, or to cope with how draining it is, like for yourself?
The latter.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just a tiring sport, and if you're not being funny about it, it kind of can suck your soul a little bit.
Yeah, I can imagine. Be depressing because when you're tired all the time, it also lends towards being depressed just because your energy is so low.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's boring. It's not fun to get up at fucking 5:30 a.m. to get in the pool. So if you're not like laughing a little bit, it just feels really soul sucking.
Yeah.
So
that tracks. That makes sense. Yeah. So that might be where his humor comes from. That makes so much sense. And I like that he has a little humor because, again, no one else does.
No.
And that's such a like draw for the show, is if somebody's funny, it makes you more drawn in
yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here? I feel like that might be why some of it's been a little bit boring this season,
This is true.
as I reflect.
And Alandria is not that funny, but she's funny with him.
Yeah.
They're such like almost foils in a way that I really do feel that they balance each other out.
Totally agree. Yeah.
I'm kind of obsessed.
So cute. Yeah. It's like, because one of them can say something that's like a little bit out there, but the other one will pick up on it and then they can riff on it, which is great. You do need a little bit of that. You need a partner in crime.
And they do have mutual respect, which is huge.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because that's the other thing we saw this episode, was her being like, okay, now I'm really ready to like give it a shot. Because that was the thing that was missing before too.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, it was forced by producers. And also Alandria really didn't take to it well.
No.
Like she was still interested in Taylor at the time.
Which sucks.
Taylor's gone now.
He sucks. I'm sorry. Not a fan.
I think he's too young and early in life experience to be on the show. He like wasn't ready. He needed more experience with different relationships first.
Clark almost gave like mom energy to him. She had like a very warm approach.
Yeah. She also would sit there and just get eye contact with him for periods of time, which I think was something he needed because he just like ran out of things to talk about, I think, with Alandria, and was like worried about impressing her with his knowledge. Sorry, I keep kicking you.
No, you're fine.
But yeah, so I think she was like worried about impressing. He was worried about impressing Landria. And so then he would run out of things to say and it would make him feel awkward and anxious. Because sometimes his humor was like to be mean. Did you notice that? Yeah. He's like, no one likes you.
Oh my God. That was awful.
It's childlike, very childlike.
Especially when you're in a couple with someone else. Asshole.
So hurtful. So hurtful. Luckily, she's like loved by everyone, so it didn't matter. But like, it's like, that's so wrong. Just thinking it just hits the wrong person. If you do that with the wrong person too, and who doesn't have that kind of confidence. And in that moment, she didn't have a lot of confidence because of what was going on. So just, really poor humor. Like where Nick is sort of self-deprecating, he was very much other deprecating, which is just such a childlike humor. And again, speaks to like how early in life experience he is. Yeah.
I don't think Nick is mean-spirited. As we said before, I think he handled Hudamaya poorly and wasn't very kind.
Yeah, that was not a good moment for him. Yeah. But otherwise, like he was like pro Amaya, which I liked. And yeah, he does seem to be like he does seem to vote for the underdog in some ways. And then just like he can't stand up to Ace.
No.
Was the other downside of his people pleasing.
But I think he'll watch the show back and be like, oh, I could have just been my own man out here.
I could have decided not to sort of like first suck up to Jeremiah and then suck up to Ace when he started to take on the leadership.
Yeah. And then like, it's a bit of like a subordinate to the leader sort of vibe for him.
Yeah, he'd rather be a follower. And it's interesting because like, so what does he get out of that? Like, does he want to stay in the subordinate position, or does he want to be subordinate so he can end up proving to that person that he's the best of like the not them, or you know what I mean? Like, is he like a mom people pleaser? You know what I mean? In his family dynamics, he wants to be like the special one.
I think so.
Yeah, right. I think so too. I'm asking that energy. It must be that. Yeah, that's probably what it is.
That feels true.
I feel like that must be relevant data.
Yes.
Yeah, because he does seem to get something out of that. And it also makes sense why, like, in some cases, he likes a powerful woman, too.
Yes.
Not in some cases. He likes a powerful woman, too.
Yeah. I just love.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed.
I know. It's nice. I like that he goes. There were some moments, like, he laughed so hard, like, authentically belly laughed this last episode, too, which was really cool to see that part of him. Like, I forget which part. It was when he asked if she was sad that Taylor was gone, and she was like, nah, fuck that guy. Oh, he laughed so hard. It was so good. It was so good. Yeah, it was awesome.
And I think he was relieved that Taylor was gone too.
Yeah.
He was like,
pleased. Yeah. Even though they were like good friends, it got to a point where sort of like, this is tough. Like he's a barrier to his relationship with Alandria at that point. And then that way he didn't have Sierra and she didn't have Taylor. That sort of cleared the airwaves there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
Yes.
I want to talk about Michelandria all day, but I know we're here for a less fun.
Yeah, we should do it. Oh yeah. And then do we want to skip check-ins? Because I feel like we don't have, it's summertime. We have summertime vibes. And our check-ins lately have been that we're excited to be together. And so that goes without saying this time.
Indeed.
That's our collective.
I did accidentally get high in front of my parents-in-law on Saturday. That was bad.
Yeah. It's legal in the state you're in, just like worth the time. Yeah.
But I was at Cape Cod and I took these gummies that are legal.
Yeah.
So I was in Massachusetts, legal. I thought so. It was.
Do they know you use sometimes?
I thought it was Delta 8, and so it was.
Right.
And I took half of one.
Yeah.
And it was fine. I took the full one. It might have been Delta 9. I'm not sure. But I was high as a fucking kite. And it didn't hit till like 3 hours later, but then it was like,
no.
And I could not.
Yeah.
And they did not know how to.
Oh, no. You got so high you didn't want to be high anymore. Like, you get to the point where you're like, how do I undo this?
It was like giving bad trip. And I just had to go in the bedroom. And at first I said I was having heat exhaustion.
Yeah.
But then I came back out at one point and Connor's mom was like, how are you doing? And then I just came out with it because in my high state, I just could not keep up the ruse.
That's totally fair. I
was
feel like that's very justified. Yeah.
I is just I can't. It's hard on a normal basis and even harder right now.
Right. You don't have your full capacity also.
I was just like, I'm high. This is why I'm high. This is what happened.
That's good.
And they're like, they didn't know what to do with that.
Yeah, right.
They didn't really say anything.
Did they have negative views about?
I don't know.
That was the time. That was you finding out in that moment. Sort
I
of
think
like real
they
time.
were too polite to say anything.
Yeah.
They're those kinds of people.
Yeah, but they didn't like laugh with you or anything.
No, it wasn't. I mean, I did come out later to watch the Andy Griffith show.
Okay.
Which, by the way, is fucking weird.
I have never
I
seen
don't know
it.
if I was just high, but I was like, this is creepy. I was creeped out, but I'm just staring at the screen and my eyes are all red. And Leslie did, or I'm sorry. Well, yeah, that's her name.
So,
she did laugh at me a little bit.
Okay,
so that was good.
She's able to be playful about it.
And I was like, and I was very apologetic, so I wasn't like doubling down. Because I did feel bad. It wasn't a good. I just thought it was going to be like a CBD sort of vibe,
right?
But I was like,
that's what Delta 9 is, right? It's like not fully psychoactive. Or?
I think it is. That's what I did some research, and I think they manipulate the THC so it's slightly off.
Okay.
So that it's legal in more places.
Okay.
But it's not very well understood. And I feel like I understand.
Now understand. Yeah.
Like
experience.
Gummies, A, not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
I've learned again and again. And B, maybe not when I'm in front of
maybe not with the in-laws.
The worst people that could have happened in front of.
Especially because you don't know their views on weed.
I think I kind of do now.
I know
think it's like I don't know what to do with this sort of vibe.
Right.
I don't think it's something that they ever maybe did.
Right. And they don't have personal experience to then be like more playful about it. And they also, curious about it.
Yeah.
I feel like certain generations saw it as like the thing that like gateways to a whole bunch of trouble. So they saw or like hit those dirty hippies or something, like certain boomer generations or soon after kind of saw it negatively.
Yeah.
So that's a bummer. Maybe.
I tried to eat dinner with them all, but I just couldn't. And that's when I had to give the heat.
So then you're like, no.
It was just like, oh my God.
That's particularly bad because you can't move. Like you're expected to stay right where you are and you feel like people are looking at you. I can imagine that being a tough time to be any sort of not normal functioning.
It was tough. So that's what's on my mind.
That's a really fair. I'm glad you shared that check-in. That's worth checking in.
Yes. So y'all don't take edibles in front of your in-laws.
Fair. And maybe don't at all if you are worried about how it might affect you. Maybe try just a quarter of a gummy first or something if you want to try it. Or try CBD first. Although that's just not psychoactive, so that doesn't really help you get a sense, really.
Delta 9 is not so benign.
That's also really helpful to know. Yeah. Seriously.
Oh.
Wow. I've never even really seen that anywhere. They sell it in I guess because, in some of the New England states it's legal, so that they aren't as inundated with Delta 9, right? Because it's the states that it's illegal.
Yeah, that it's more of a kind of loophole situation.
Yeah.
But maybe not for me any longer.
Now we know.
Now we know. Now we really know.
Yes, now we know firsthand. Trial and error.
I come up with some fun Cape stories.
I know. Dolphins, getting high with your in-laws.
Like all kind of mortifying.
Getting high with your in-laws and that being the way you find out their views on marijuana.
Yeah, with would have been different in front of.
That's true. Yeah, not with your in-laws. You're right. Good point.
It was not a mutual
Good point.
exchange.
Very much a distinction worth making. It does change the whole view a little bit. It's kind of amazing. Finding out their views while they're high from it. Although you know they like it.
You're high when you're like, no one is pleased with me.
No, no, feeling shame and no, even just embarrassment. That'll be a fucking no, thank you.
Good
Like,
times.
can I undo this, please? Give me something that gets rid of weed.
What's the antidote?
Take a drug, sweat it out. Oh, that's brutal. Okay, that's a delightful in many ways. Accept that it sucks. Just check in. It's good to laugh about now.
And I'll probably laugh more about it as time goes on.
Okay,
it hasn't even been a week out.
Okay, so you're really just like still having the full working through of it.
Yes, exactly.
I love that. And then Connor obviously would just laugh with you about it.
Yes,
I love that.
He thought it was in the moment. He was just trying to be chill because he didn't want to upregulate.
Yeah.
But afterwards,
he knew how to plan a little bit. Oh my god, it's amazing.
I was like, okay. It's like, you want to go upstairs and play Scrabble? And I was like, abso-fucking-lutely not.
No Scrabble.
I cannot leave this bed for another 2 hours. I was like, okay.
And you can't even like really sleep either. They just sort of like static.
Wow.
Oh god, that's brutal. Oh, tough. Edibles, that's the thing, is like they're hard to regulate, I hear. You know, it's like you can really just get like all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So it hit 4 hours later is a nightmare to me. That sounds awful.
Because I wasn't even expecting it.
Right. At that point, you think it's a come and gone or whatever.
And maybe it's because we were at the beach and I was hot. Like, I have no idea what the fuck happened, but it hit in a really weird way.
Right. Like, I feel like when you drink at the beach, it hits you weird too. Like,
yeah.
So I could see that being part of it.
It was wacky. It was wacky tobacco.
Wacky, literal tobacco. All the way no.
So kids, don't do drugs.
Yeah, definitely don't do edibles.
Do them at your own
in regulation. In regulated. I mean, moderation.
And not in situations where it would be a bad outcome.
Where the audience is. Yeah, exactly. Where the audience has questionable views about it.
Yes.
No.
In their own home.
At least you weren't like out at dinner and they were like worried you had to drive or something, or God, you know.
I thought I was going to get a not in my house speech, but I didn't.
Under our roof.
Too polite for that.
You will not.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, that's good. That is a good time. Like the type of polite is a good thing.
Yes, indeed.
But now I feel like I should have more of a check-in as well. Do I have one? I will say that clink.
Gather round,
friends. Hear my check-in today. Oh my gosh. No. It'll be good. I think that's good. I mean, I have had like just a lot of work recently for it being summer, and that's been hard because what I really want to do is organize my study and I want to clean, and I can't even really clean because I'm so busy with the work. So I'm hoping for a chiller couple months coming up, or last 2 months of the summer, that I can, or month and a half, that I can clean my study. What a joy.
Everyone behave and no one make progress on your dissertation.
I know, right? Like, no one do any work, please. I did. Okay, well, that can be part of my check-in, which is I did get caught up on the dissertations I had to review, which felt good. Yeah, that's part of a lot of work I have to do, but I did. They were tough. They were like really good, but that makes them tough because you're like really need to get into it. And that was good. I had to give higher level feedback, which was, I'm proud of myself. Putting in the time, being done.
Yeah. And had a student defend a dissertation.
Right. But also a defense today. Yep.
A year early.
Yes.
Was amazing.
Incredible. Yeah. That feels good. Done.
A great job.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, I do enjoy those meetings. Those are lovely. And when their family comes and gets to celebrate them.
It's really sweet.
Love it. That was joy. It's joy having you on their committee too. I love our teams, the ones that we have together.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Good crew.
Yeah. All feminist bi plus women.
Yes.
What a joy. It's like the perfect fucking committee.
Yes. Bi community. It can't exist.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And in this case, we're talking about a bi community for the dissertation itself, but that was the population in question. So it was good that we were all bi plus. Like normally you might not want an entirely one like type of person, but in this case it was perfectly appropriate. It was
actually appropriate.
an emic study.
Indubitably emic.
Nicely brings us to talking about Sierra, who is also bi the way, bi plus. But then also this relates to the fact that we're talking about what it is like to do an emic or etic study, because we're also going to be talking a little bit about racism that doesn't apply to us and our group in specific. So we will be speaking a little bit for others, but in ways ideally that we can be acknowledging that we don't have firsthand experience with it. So our first topic, we're also going, so let me just give you a little bit of an update or an outline, because I have heard that this is helpful for people to have a little bit of outline of what's to come. So we're going to first talk about what happened with Sierra getting pulled from Love Island. Mm-hmm. We're going to watch her apology firsthand with you all in this moment. Dr. Ray has seen it. I have not. So I'm going to be critiquing it on the fly in the moment. And Dr. Ray will share more reflective comments because she's already seen them. So it's perfect. We come from both angles. And then we're going to talk about Ulysses' official statement and then critique her apology as well as her walking it back.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll move into talking about like fan reactions at large. So we're going to use those two. So right, we're going to talk about their racial slurs, the reactions from fans. I mean, well, their racial slurs, their own apologies. Then we'll use that to sort of like come out a level in terms of societal response and fan reactions online and the way that we talk about cancel culture, the way that cancel culture can affect us all, or not affect us all, the way we all can dialogue around cancel culture. And then some critiquing of fan reactions and also just talking about, the community. And then we're going to talk about also at that level, parasocial context and the show itself. Like, how does the show respond to things like this? And how is in general, social media responding to racism? And then lastly, we'll talk also as part of that, Sierra's parents' response, because they're part of that parasocial thing. And it sort of lands us on that end of it. How does the community respond to this, including the parents because there are a lot of parents out there on social media for different players.
Sure are.
Players.
Their kids.
Castmates.
Yes. Players.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Players for the game ones.
Influencers.
Yeah.
It's really just an influencer show.
So much so.
It's gotten, I think, more obvious that is what's happening.
It's less shamed, because it used to be shamed. Like people would be like, oh my God, she just wants the follows or whatever. Just like now people just know that.
Yeah. And they're actually kind of playing into it where they're like, oh, I was the most liked this week.
Exactly.
Fascinating.
I got all those likes. Or like, people will have a friend run their social media when they're in the house, which is what happened with Sierra. She had a friend who ran it and then she came out and was like distancing herself from it too.
Wow.
She wrote a response where she's like, I didn't know about this and I will obviously be taking a step back and, So interesting. We have plenty of things to talk about, which is cool, parasocially.
Indubitably.
So why don't we start with Sierra's apology? So worth mentioning, she used a anti-Asian racial slur twice in 2015 and 2020. So 5 years apart. It shows she didn't learn from the first time, or maybe didn't get critiqued from it or whatever. Not that should be necessary. She should be able to learn from it anyway. It also means Black Lives Matter happened between those times, and that would have been an important time for her to learn a little bit more about it. And then she didn't, because then she used it again in 2020. She used it to refer to herself and how her eyes looked in certain pictures. So super racist, inappropriate, fucked up.
Absolutely. I think that was a perfect encapsulation of what the issue at hand is. So let's watch the video.
Fabulous.
And now that I've been back in the US for about 48 hours and I've had the chance to process, I now feel like I'm at a space where I can speak about this without being highly emotional, because I am not the victim in this situation. While I was in the villa, there were some posts that resurfaced from my past where I was very naively using an incredibly offensive and derogatory term. And before I get into the details, I want to first start by addressing not just anyone that I have hurt or deeply offended, but most importantly, the entire Asian community. I am deeply, truly, honestly, so sorry. I had no idea that the word held as much pain, as much harm, and came with the history that it did, or I never would have used it. I had no ill intention when I was using it, but that's absolutely no excuse, because intent doesn't excuse ignorance. It just doesn't. And I just need you to know that I am so sorry, but this is not an apology video. This is an accountability video. I do want to hold my hands up and say that I take accountability for using the word, but I do want it to be known that I genuinely had no idea that it was a slur. I had no idea of its meaning. And it wasn't until I made the public story post in 2024 when a follower of mine reached out to correct me and let me know that what I was saying was incredibly hurtful. It was a derogatory term. It was a slur. And in that moment, I was embarrassed. I, of course, immediately deleted the post. I was apologetic, and I educated not only myself on the true meaning and the history of the word, but also anyone around me who was accidentally holding space for this slur. When this person did message me, which I'm so grateful that she did, I had a good conversation with her about it. I made the correction immediately. The word was immediately removed from my vocabulary. And I think right now there are tons of things floating around, different screenshots with different timestamps, and fueling this narrative that I sort of doubled down once people tried to correct me and was like, oh, like, I don't know, I'm still going to use it. But that was not the case. Like, the truth is that in that moment, the lesson was learned, the word was removed, and it was a true learning moment for me. And I think since that moment, I've done so much growing as an individual, and I've tried my best to educate others who might be accidentally holding space for these types of words that could be offensive in their vocabulary. I completely agree with the network's decision to remove me from the villa. I think that this is something that deserved punishment, and the punishment has absolutely been received for sure. I think the backlash has obviously been very hard to deal with, but I understand that people are kind of confused on why I would have even said it or why I would have been doubling down and continuing to use it. So I understand where the hate is coming from. And, you know, I can do my best to drown out the noise and pay attention to the truth. But what's been extremely, extremely difficult is the way people are approaching my family and my loved ones. You know, they have had ICE called on them. My family doesn't feel safe in their own home. I'm receiving death threats. Like, there's no need to fight hate with hate. I don't think that that's justice. And if you want to know that you are heard and that I'm sorry and that I will move differently, I promise you that's what will happen. I know that no apology could ever be enough for the harm that I've caused and the offense that's taken place. I know that moving forward, my actions and how I decide to live my life from here on out is going to speak louder than any apology ever could. But I do need it to be known that I am sorry and I did mean no harm. And hopefully there are people out there that can use my mistake as a learning moment, and to just be better, because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take today and tomorrow, and I'm going to take strides to be better. And all I can ask for is, even if you won't give me forgiveness, if you can just allow me to grow with grace. And hopefully, instead of sitting here and trying to convince you that I am this amazing person who spreads light in the world and celebrates cultures and dynamics and backgrounds, then one day you can see that from me. I'm deeply sorry again, and I thank anyone who's listening.
Okay. Does her switcher say empathy?
Huh?
Does her switcher say empathy? And also, does it not? Does it say empath? Because that would be a lot. But
It might. I'm not quite sure because her hair's covering it.
yeah, true. Yeah.
I'm so curious to hear what you think.
Okay, yeah. It's definitely nuanced. Like, it didn't look like she was reading off of anything, which I appreciate.
Mhm.
It definitely was prepared, obviously, but I think that was good. It showed she put time into it and work on it to try to come up with what she felt like was a good way of communicating without making it about her. Like, there were no like white lady tears or sort of drawing attention to how much she was suffering from other people. I think she was right to bring up the reaction. I think she was also right to say, I get where the hate's coming towards me, but not my family. I totally agree. There should not be anything directed towards her family, or especially ICE being called, which is racist.
That's fucked up.
And also, like, really could lead to them being deported. Like, what? You want that? Like, that's so dark. And it's not
too much.
Yeah.
And I doubt that all of those people have never made mistakes.
Right. That too. Yeah, exactly.
So it's just like, it's a big swing.
It really is. Exactly. Right. I mean, we were all learning about racism in new ways, including people of color were learning about racism of different groups and whatever in certain ways through the last particularly decade. I was surprised you said you didn't even know it was a slur.
I know. I didn't buy that.
Yeah. Maybe she felt like it wasn't as bad or something. Like, maybe she could have said that really.
But like I had no idea. It doesn't feel true.
Right. I don't know how you don't know that, especially after the Black Lives Matter movement when we were learning a lot about some of that stuff. She's from Phoenix, right? Arizona?
I'm not quite sure.
But yeah.
I would just think, like, why would you use that term? Because you're saying something of comparing yourself.
What the term is too.
Yeah. It's like what you're doing is derogatory against that group.
Mm-hmm.
And so it doesn't, that didn't quite and then the details where she was like, I had no idea until 2024. I'm like,
yeah, that's tough. So last year.
Yeah. And I frankly didn't want those details.
Yeah,
I was like,
defensive.
It was defensive. I kind of didn't need it.
No. No, I agree with that. And like this receipts of like the chat and stuff is sort of unnecessary. I do get what she's saying about like she doesn't like people saying she doubled down. Like I do think, and I had even mentioned that she'd done it twice, like once in 2015 and once in 2020. So it seemed like she hadn't learned between those times. But she even agreed that that's true because she said she didn't learn about it till 2024. So that is a different way of putting it than like she doubled down by using it a second time. I think it just showed she didn't learn about it until obviously after at least the second time. So I do think that's probably, if she's saying that that's why she needed to show us that she wasn't doubling down, I get that. But again, that could have been a different context, different time and place for that, rather than sort of looking like she's like, look, I did only just learn this. Sort of like, that's not great. That's still not great.
My ignorance about this and how long I was ignorant for is a problem.
Exactly.
Like, I want to know about your 2015, like, I don't really care.
No, I don't care when you learned it. It's bad that you didn't learn it sooner than that. I'm thankful for the person that told her eventually, because that's really egregious that she didn't somehow know. I think she's right about like her intent doesn't excuse anything, but she still ended up bringing it up a lot.
Right.
Like I didn't mean any harm. Like It's like, right. I'm glad she at least named that intent is not an excuse for ignorance nor impact, but then she still might be not focused as much. Should have not focused as much on the fact she didn't intend it.
And that I think that it went from that to her family, which was an important thing to bring up, but then it kind of ended there. It's like the message kind of ends with like, what the hell are you people doing to this person?
Right.
Which I kind of wish she would have gone back to. And she did.
She did a little bit. She signed off on a little bit of it. Yeah. Like, I hope I can show you. Well, she's like, basically said that. I hope I can show you I'm a person who brings light. Which is also not quite, I feel like there could have been more of a like, well, she was like, I'm sorry, I'm deeply sorry. And I think, I also appreciated her focus on like, this is for the entire Asian population, or should like those who are Asian, or, which I think is a great point to like focus on that. But I also feel like, and this is fair, like a lot of people are saying, and I think it's fair that like, if you're not Asian, you shouldn't be talking about how harmful the term is to you. Like you shouldn't be speaking from like your white position about how harmful the word is. But I think there is something to be said about the fact that we can all find it offensive, that we don't want that to be how, and there's that where it's like we can work together to see that as a problem, to use that kind of language. But I agree, we shouldn't be like being like, oh, like clutch my pearls as a white woman about it.
Right.
So if that reaction's happening, I totally get that. But I do think it's fair for her also to be like, right, this is for the Asian community who's most harmed by it. And also like as a part of our greater community, hoping that we can all learn from this and work from it.
Right.
I also, sorry, but really quick, also the thing about her being like, I hope somebody can learn from this. It's almost like I don't want that to be, like, it's like you don't even deserve that yet, to be like, I hope that like this is a learning lesson for other people. It's like, I hope this can be a learning lesson for you first and foremost right now in this moment.
And you talk about your light, and she does have Sierra, you have an amazing light.
We love Sierra. She was fantastic on the show.
And you still have some growth in this area.
And by the way, we all do.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And there's different like degrees for different people or whatever. We all have a lifelong journey ahead. Maybe that's something I wish she'd also brought in, was like, this is a lifelong journey for all of us. Maybe just don't talk about all of us, but like for herself, it's a lifelong journey. I need to keep addressing this till I die, basically, because there's always gonna be biases that are well conditioned.
And checking in on what's coming up for me.
Yeah. So I feel like that would have been a helpful message for her to include, rather than seeing it as like, now I've learned this, we're good. Like, I hope I can teach other people now. Like, I become the teacher.
Yeah. You're not there yet, girly.
Exactly. Ooh. So yeah, I think we should all see it as we're all learning together. Like, no one should ever really be the teacher on racism too, really, no one has got it on lock.
Nope.
So I think we should, so there's that piece, which I think would have been good to include. I think I guess I'm saying I wish she was like more in the learning position for all of it, rather than saying like, I hope I taught people with this, and now I know and do better, and I don't know.
Yeah. Apologies are hard. I'm sure if I had to make an apology like that, I would fumble the ball, to be fair.
Yeah. And she did a beautiful job. She like very straight to camera, comfortable seeming, went right through, no pauses even really. There were clearly no cuts to the video. Like, she just one shot.
She did it.
Shows her confidence in being able to talk about it, and competence and fluidity being able to talk about it, which I appreciated. So that was great. But I also, right. And I think we're just like, it's easier to critique than to do the thing, put the clay on the wheel. Of course. And also I think we're sort of like offering additional like ideas around like what I hope for her in terms of learning from this.
And I would imagine that she's learned from seeing bad apologies about kind of a way to do it sincerely versus
how the other ones are. Yeah, exactly.
And there's further growth. We can always grow in how we apologize and how we engage or don't engage in anti-racism behavior.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So, we're all on a journey. She is too. And I'm truly rooting for her.
That's the
Sierra.
thing. It's like we're giving critique because we know she can keep growing.
Yeah.
And so it's like we wouldn't give, it's like a gift. Like we wouldn't care enough if we didn't think she could grow. Like we wouldn't give and offer any critique. So it really is more that like we know that she's interested in continuing to learn, and that's fantastic. If she ever for any weird reason heard this, but
That would be amazing.
you know, yeah, the idea is the idea behind the feedback is that it's, you know, a positive thing and a gift ideally because we believe in her. And I think we both have talked very highly of her on the podcast. And I do think she's very emotionally intelligent, which is part of why I'm confused a little bit about not knowing it's a slur. But
yeah, it seems, I think that maybe there's some willful denial
selective inattention.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
And but yeah, we're rooting for you, and glad that you said something and addressed it.
Yeah, directly and shared from the heart. And like you said, she's improving on the ones she saw that weren't as good. So that brings us to talking about Ulysses.
Yeah.
So would you like to read her first?
Yeah. So it's a multi-tiered apology tour that is kind of acknowledged, and then it seems like backpedaled a little bit. So I'm going to read her apology because she did not do a video. It was written. So this is from Ulyssa, who, reminder, had said some racial slurs more recently, and I guess they were pretty easy to find, which is like
on her Instagram. Yeah. She was on a podcast saying it.
God.
Yeah. Anti-Black racial slurs.
Woof. It's just wild. So Ulyssa said, first, I want to apologize for using a word I had no right in using. Podcast clips from years ago have recently resurfaced, and I want to address it directly. In those clips, I used a word I never should have used, a racial slur. I used it ignorantly, not fully understanding the weight, history, and pain behind it. I wasn't trying to be offensive or harmful, but I recognize now that intention doesn't excuse impact.
Nice.
And the impact of that word is real. It's tied to generations of trauma, and it's not mine to use. At the time, I was speaking casually in conversation, not thinking deeply or critically about what I was saying. She kind of just said this, but that doesn't take away from how wrong it was. The truth is, I didn't know better then, but I do now. I've taken the time to reflect, to learn, and to grow from that moment. I've changed a lot since then, not just in how I speak, but in how I show up, carry myself, and how I honor the experiences of others. Growth means recognizing when you were wrong, even if it's uncomfortable, and choosing to move forward with humility and accountability. There have also been fake statements circulating, things written or said by others that don't reflect me or my heart. I want to clarify that this is my voice and my words. I don't need anyone to speak for me. I'm choosing to speak for myself because I take full ownership of my actions. Do not listen to the fake statements. This is my official statement. This is me speaking directly to you. To those who are disappointed or offended, I understand and I apologize. I am sorry.
Good. That's good. But I am sorry.
Yeah.
I apologize. We've talked about that before.
I hate that.
Yeah, you brought up how distancing it is to say that. Plus, you're saying you're doing it, but you're not doing it. Like saying I apologize is you saying I'm sorry, but you don't say I'm sorry. That doesn't work.
And the fact that it's an official statement, you know, like that thing has been red penned within an inch of its life. And it doesn't say anything offensive, but I think it's because it's been
well PR'd.
Yes.
You know, very agent on it. And I think she brought the intent and impact, but again, did the whole like, but I really didn't mean to. Like, so if you really agree that intent doesn't matter, don't keep talking about your intent. Like you're saying it doesn't matter, then don't do it. Don't talk about it. She like doubles down on how her intent was good. You know, it's like, who cares? We don't want to hear that. Like, that's not relevant. You just said it's not relevant.
And correct me if I'm wrong, she was using the N word. And so to act like she didn't know that was bad, it's like, again, maybe I think she said how bad, but it's like, but you kind of did.
Right. And again, it's where it's like, I hope we all understand that it's connected to a history that is just, and at least you know the history for Black people in this country. So that should be enough said. Like, you know, you already know that the discrimination and prejudice and bias is based on a humongous history of enslavement and really genocide. Yeah. You know, and so it's like just saying trauma is not enough either. And so like both of them did that thing where they were like, I didn't realize how bad it was, which I have heard before in other apologies where they're like, I didn't realize just how serious the history was, which I think has again a good intent, but isn't landing. Like I think the intent behind it is to say like, I can't possibly know just how bad it was. Like, but it comes across as saying like, I didn't know, like, you know,
my bad.
Pleading ignorance. Yeah.
Now I do know. But it's like with that word, you know, because you get reactions out of people.
Right. And I think
it's not going
to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's not, maybe in like 2002 things were different,
Right.
but it's not 2002, it's
Right.
2025. So
Right. Where is she seeing it used casually? That was another part of her defense where she was like, I was just speaking casually. It's like, okay, and?
okay,
That means nothing.
don't.
So when you formally speak, you don't use it, then you
Yeah.
know how bad it is.
Yeah.
All right. But the worst thing about it is that then she walked it on back. Are you ready for this, or do you want to say something else?
I haven't even read this one.
I
But
know. You
surprised.
read the first one before?
No,
You haven't read
no,
that?
I
Okay, I
hadn't
hadn't
read this
either.
one either.
Yeah.
But I had read Sierra, or I had seen Sierra's.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
this is new for me.
Yeah, I hadn't read either of these either. And yeah, Ulissa was basically kicked out day 2. So we haven't seen much of her in general.
Mhm.
So she started with cancel culture isn't accountability, it's online brutality. Hashtag accountable, not erased. This isn't justice. This is just what cancel culture has become. People swear cancel culture is about accountability, but now it's just viral hate. Packaged for likes, twisted into clickbait, a trend for clout, 5 minutes of fame at someone else's expense. This week I received death threats, messages saying I should kill myself, all over a video from 2021. Now people are spreading lies saying it's from 2024. It's not. I know the truth, and the truth matters. If we don't believe people can grow, what are we even doing? That video doesn't define me, but how the internet treats people, that says everything. And what scares me even more, oh, no, cancel culture, no, just kidding. And some people don't survive this kind of hate. That's the scariest part. Cyberbullying is violence, period. Cancel culture isn't fixing the world, it's tearing people apart. And what scares me even more is the world I came back to. While I was away with no phone, no idea what was happening in the real world, I came back to a war zone. The world torn apart, cruelty trending, justice distorted, and I don't stand with any of it. Not the hate, not the lies, not the bullying dressed up as activism. Somewhere along the way, we stopped seeing each other as people. We're losing our humanity. I'm not perfect, never said I was, but I'm still here. Growth is real, so is healing, and no one deserves to be erased over one moment. For the ones who didn't make it, may you rest in peace. For the ones who are scared to speak, I got you. And for myself, because I'm done staying quiet. My name is Ulissa Escobar, and this is not where my story ends. One mistake does not define a human. And that moment was 4 years ago. I've clearly grown and I'm just getting started. My DMs are open. If you're hurting, if you're scared, if you feel like no one gets it, come talk to me. You're not alone.
Okay. So I actually feel multiple ways about this.
Absolutely.
I really do.
Yeah,
I agree with her that no one moment defines any person.
absolutely.
And that she should not be receiving hate or
No
death
one should get
threats. That
death
is
threats.
horrible.
Never death threats ever.
No.
Nothing justifies that.
No, even like unnuanced takes about who someone is.
Yeah.
We don't know who she is.
Yeah, right.
I don't know her.
Right.
I know about a thing she did that wasn't great.
Right.
And that doesn't mean that I can understand her entire life, personality, experiences.
We know about a behavior. We don't know about her as a person.
Right.
I agree.
Exactly.
I think that's one of the dangers of cancel culture is that it becomes about the person and it becomes about public shaming versus like growth. And if shame does not lead to growth.
No.
So like what does lead to growth is like openness to somebody to hear them out, help them understand why you're not liking what they did or whatever, help them understand the problem with what they did so that they can grow and do better. And the problem with cancel culture, the other problem with it is that just erasing something, like if Disney took out the parts or whatever, that takes away our ability to learn from it.
Right.
Like if we leave it in there and say, this is what's racist about this movie, our children can grow and learn from it. And I think cancel culture, to the extent something gets erased, is not actually helping us grow as a society. It's just pretending we didn't do a racist thing when there is racism all throughout our history and recent history and currently, and we're perpetuating it all the time. So if we're not talking about where it was in our history, we aren't talking about where it is now, and we're not holding ourselves actually accountable. Right. So there are major issues with cancel culture. And
that her statement here completely ignores and kind of almost like discounts what she did, which was shitty, and she shouldn't have done it. If that would have been a more balanced take of this has been really hard.
Yeah.
I am struggling and I acknowledge that what I did was bad and I'm still working on it and I need to figure this out.
Right.
Not like this happened in 2021, not 2024. So I've grown. Like, it doesn't really matter. Why the fuck were you saying that in 2021? We had just had a pretty big like reckoning
and Black Lives Matter. Exactly. We were coming together as a community. Yeah. Trying to learn from Black Lives Matters. And I think the other piece too, like you're absolutely right, a balanced take on it. Here's what I did that was wrong. Here's what is hard for me now in terms of people's reaction. I think the other, like she went so diehard about like, this is why cancel culture is a problem and said not even really a thing about why she was sorry. She didn't say she was sorry anymore. She didn't say, it was as if it hadn't even really happened. And I think the other Oh yeah. The other thing about cancel culture. So it was like born out of really pretty much is given credit to Black Lives Matter and Me Too. So that's where cancel culture arose out of as a very important tool.
Right.
Like it was intended to remind us all about like this person did this fucked up thing. Like let's not keep giving them money. Like let's all hold them accountable so that they don't keep getting all this money from whatever. Da, 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 da. And a lot of people lost jobs because of it for good reason. They were sexual predators or extremely racist. And so people were being held accountable in a new way that still we benefit from today. People being held accountable in that way. And of course, cancel culture kind of like ran away because it's got, runaway train because of groupthink, right? Like, so because groupthink leads to more intense reactions than normally we would all think of on our own.
And less nuance.
More black and white thinking, more polarization. Of course, our society is extremely polarized right now. Think about politics. So it's like same thing with this type of thing where it's like, okay, we hate them. They're the worst. They're awful. They should kill themselves. It's like, no. We don't need to go all the way over there. We can just say like, here's a behavior. How have you learned from this? Or like, what can you do to keep learning or whatever? Right. Well, asking questions instead of telling them and accusing people when we really don't know most of the story ever about anybody, period. So like, yeah, I think that piece of it, where it came from is so important, and it is an important tool. Like us working together, collective activism, that's so important. And also where it's become like public shaming and even like hatred is just not the productive place. That's not us coming together to learn and grow.
Something that I've been talking about in my trauma work with people and people working on whole object thinking with people who have abused them or harmed them,
right,
is like recognizing their humanity, even if, and like, acknowledging that, but that doesn't mean you have to fuck with them.
Right. Or just like, you don't have to approve.
Right. You don't have to approve. You don't have to like it. You don't have to forgive them. And they're a complicated human. We're all complicated humans. That doesn't mean you ever have to talk to them again or engage with them. You don't have to engage with Ulissa ever again in your life.
Right. You could have not to begin with.
Yeah, that's fine. I didn't before.
I didn't give a fuck.
3 months ago, and I'm good continuing to not.
Right. I didn't go to her social media after what happened. I learned about what she did to help educate myself on some of the things that are important for us to keep learning from. And I also didn't need to keep engaging. We learn from it, we move forward.
And you can do that with her. You don't have to agree. You don't have to like, but you like, what are you getting out of
telling her to kill herself?
Yeah. Like that's not a great, maybe that's a place to look in the mirror a little bit, because maybe there's something in you that is feeling unforgiving of your own self or life.
Intolerable. Something about yourself is intolerable. Or like that's something that you feel like people think about you, or like you think about yourself. Yeah, there's something about that technique or like a strategy that is foreign to me. Like I just don't understand it. Like why you would ever tell someone to do that, or like what you think you're achieving through that. So yeah, I think there's something to be said about like online bullying leading to really suicides, which is also what Ulysses is hitting on there, is people who haven't made it through this kind of cyberbullying and intense shaming, collective shaming and attention. And I think, cancel culture is changing in the way that like we are being more critical of it. It has become less of a like long-term thing. Like people sort of do tend to like move on to the next thing in terms of focus. So I think, I don't know, there's goods and bads, positives and negatives with that. But I think the main thing is if we're holding each other accountable enough for somebody to do what Sierra did and like really think deeply about, like ideally think deeply about what they did wrong and learn and grow from it and change their behaviors from it, then it's still doing the thing we want it to be doing, as long as it's not leading to public shaming and asking people to kill themselves or calling ICE. What the fuck, y'all? Call ICE on someone's family. What's your response to that? It's so weird. Like if you really hate racism, why would you do a racist thing?
Right. That's so racist and
so fucked up. Yeah.
So it's sad. Yeah. It's a sad place. And I feel for Ulissa too. And I bet in a few years she'll look back on her response to her apology and she'll feel weird about it.
Exactly.
Not right about it.
Exactly.
Or that wasn't right what I did. Yeah. Like I believe that she'll hopefully grow from this.
Me too.
I hope so. I believe even more that Sierra is going to grow.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
But I've also gotten to know Sierra better and see parts, like, for example, because we know Sierra a little better, we're kind of able to give more grace to her.
Right.
So when you know someone and understand their humanity, I mean, she's still getting a lot of hate online, but I think for us, for me, it's easier to hold empathy for her because I understand who she is and quite like who she is.
Yeah. She can still have these positive qualities and have this negative behavior that she's learning about. And I think that's the piece where it's like, it's the behavior, not the person.
Yeah.
There's some things that we need to be able to still embrace. Like, for example, like there are so many, if we really erased every single person who's racist and their work, we would have no art, we would have no theater, we would have no, movies, we would have no anything. All of it would be gone because there's racism at every corner of the world, and there's no corners of this world, but at every like pocket, right? And every type of public anything. So we really, and all of us would be canceled because we've all said something racist at some point. Maybe not publicly, ideally, but definitely we've all said something racist at some point, not knowing it, not intending it, but it doesn't matter. Yeah. So the truth is we can't do that. We can't cancel everything. What we can do is like when we know a thing that they've done or that we hope they can be held accountable for, we can do the little bit of like an asterisk. Like I think about the fact that Bessel van der Kolk is the director of a trauma center, I think in Massachusetts, right? Then it came out during Me Too that he was abusive himself as a boss and denigrating employees and so forth, which makes him an abuser too and traumatizing to people, despite writing a book about what trauma does to people and actively during the time that he's famous for being a trauma specialist. It's depressing. It's like the abused know how to abuse. The abused know how to abuse. And like he's taught, so I imagine he also probably had some trauma too in that light, but he's learning about trauma and also, and therefore enacting it. It's a piece where it's like, I can't lose that book. It's so important. But if we talk about it with an asterisk, we can continue to learn from him while still acknowledging and holding him accountable.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's an important book. Also, if anyone has trauma, go check out that book. It is really good.
It's a great book.
Body keeps the score.
Yeah. And it's like art versus artist, like you were saying.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like you can still appreciate the art, the good things they put out into the world without thinking they're a good person, right? It's the behavior again. It's not about him as a person. He's had bad behaviors. He can have good art and have bad behaviors at the same time.
And I think really did help some people, like did some really good work as a therapist.
Yeah.
Like it's all true.
And the book has helped immense numbers of people too.
Yes.
And I think it is fair, that it can feel like a betrayal that someone you're learning about trauma from is themselves traumatizing people. So I think all of that can be true too at the same time. So many things.
There's so many things. Oh, I love this episode. I mean, it was kind of a hard conversation, but luckily we started with Nicolandria, which, some of us are.
that brought you joy.
Yeah, that brought me some joy. And you all got to hear about me getting high in front of my in-laws.
That was a highlight.
Yeah.
That was great. But yeah, and support stuff. Yeah. There's some fun, some light, and also like lots of things we learned, including a little bit of critique about apologies, which obviously we all can keep learning and growing. So
totally.
Yeah,
raise your hand if you've given a bad apology.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure we all have.
Yep.
Like, and especially if you're still in a state of denial, where like you don't think you did anything wrong, which I think is part of it. That's part of why apologies are often bad, is because you don't believe yet that you did anything that bad, which is not great. That's why we critique it.
I would say, especially when I was a teenager, like, I'm sorry that you're
doing wrong. Yeah, exactly.
Sorry you feel that way.
It's a you thing. Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry you're so, I hope I didn't say I'm sorry you're so emotional, but who knows?
Too. Yeah, exactly.
Who knows?
Exactly. I definitely remember being told that plenty of times. Like, I do remember that was like, there was definitely a lot of, especially from boys to women, from boys to girls, and in adolescence, being made very often about our emotionality. Rude. But also, I know I definitely gave some poor apologies as well. There also was less of a conversation about it. And non-apology is a pillar of patriarchy. It's one of the things that patriarchy teaches men and also all of us, that you shouldn't apologize. Gather around. Patriarchy is a pillar of it. It's not apology. Gather around now. Hear me. But yeah, so they basically, the whole point is that if you apologize, you're taking accountability. That means you're also saying I'm guilty, which in a court of law could get you in trouble. So like they're very much taught, men, but then also all of us, that we shouldn't apologize because we don't want to take ownership and then get sued. So that's been a whole problem. And I'm glad that we now are talking more about what apologies look like and when they can actually be trustworthy.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
But check us out on shit. So like patreon.com/Reality Test, REALITYTEST. And then you'll also find us by going to the search bar and do @Reality Test in the search bar. You can go to our Instagram at Dr. K Pods, Dr. Ray Pods. You can go to our TikTok. I love that. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. That's the way to do it always. And then we're on TikTok also at Dr.dr.realitv, REALITV. And then you can find us on YouTube and Facebook. Facebook at Reality Test Pod channel page. And then you can also go to our email. Check it out, man. realitycheckpodding@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm. And don't forget to rate, review, subscribe. If you can subscribe to our Patreon, that will really help us to keep doing this thing that we so very much enjoy.
Yeah.
$5 a month. Not that bad.
Yeah, that's like a coffee.
Yeah. Get us a coffee, you know.
Instead, you can just get us a coffee if you like. Join our Patreon. Because we want people to enjoy the content we create.
We do. And if we do say so ourselves, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But, and tell all your friends, especially if you have friends who are buzzing about Love Island, which many of
yes. Yeah.
So.
Or in this case, if they have thoughts about cancel culture and they, you hope that they can learn a little bit more about it, we're happy to keep talking about it too. Mm-hmm. Probably should. We could do a mental health checkup. We haven't done one of those in a while.
Yeah.
Societal messaging.
Indeed.
Anyway. Yeah, what a joy. Always a joy.
Always joy.
What a joy indeed. And to all of you, thank you. What a joy to have you here with us. We can feel it. We can feel your presence, even though this is ahead of time. We're future casting to have some presence with us. And we will see you next session.